After weeks of traveling on planes, trains, cars, and even a ferry, like over there, we're here in Montevideo at the end of our trip in South America. And this wasn't a trip where you're at an all-inclusive resort where people bring drinks and food to you all day long. Nope, we did a lot of walking, a lot of visiting cool places, so we're tired, we're fatigued, we're cranky. One of my friends did say that Montevideo is a chill city, so maybe that's what we need. So in this episode, I'm going to go over how Montevideo is a great place if you wanted to take travel a little slower, something at your pace. Maybe it's a place for you to recover from all of those weeks of hard traveling.
Hey, traveling can be tough and unleash the inner monster in you after a couple of weeks being away from home. And that's why taking the time to grab some empanadas at El Rincón can bring some comfort. El Rincón Empanadas has every kind you can imagine. We tried pollo, caprese, calabresa, carne with provolone and pancetta, and for dessert, membrillo, a quince jam empanada. We washed it down with fresh orange juice, simple, affordable, and the right level of effort for two exhausted travelers. Over there is how most people arrive in Montevideo, which is via ferry. At least that's how we did it. The weather today is much better than yesterday when we arrived to overcast skies, which dampened my mood.
Even though Montevideo is the capital of Uruguay, it's a lot quieter than, let's say, like Buenos Aires, where we just came from earlier, and Sao Paulo. Even though Sao Paulo is not the capital of Brazil, it runs at a very frenetic pace. But that's a good thing about Montevideo. It's not trying to be this exciting metropolitan city. There isn't a pressure to do everything in our 4 days here. And certainly, you can walk on the streets minding your own business and not have to worry about people coming up to you trying to sell you a bus tour or a tango show or tell you to come into their restaurant.
With that, we're going to do a quick exploration of the Mercado del Puerto on our own.
So we're here at the Mercado del Puerto. There are a lot of places to eat here, a lot of places that offer grilled meats because they really like their meats here in Uruguay. It's still a little early for lunch, but we are thinking about maybe coming back here for dinner. It just seems like a nice chill place to have dinner. Maybe even do a little souvenir shopping. Oftentimes when I'm in a market, I get stressed out because there's like people calling for my attention to go buy this, look at this, do that. But not so much here. They are trying to get customers in, but I didn't find anybody to be too pushy or obnoxious. And certainly no pressure to buy a lafufu. This is the only traffic light we've seen so far in Montevideo. Otherwise, you have to just watch when crossing the street. One of the benefits of not being on a tight schedule to catch a train or a bus is that you can wander along these pedestrian-only streets and just take a look at the architecture. Yeah, make sure to look down on the streets. I mean, yeah, there's tiles on the walkway, but for the loose tiles, the locals will try to repair it by putting some mosaics on it.
We're here on Calle Perez Castellano, a pedestrian street, which allows us to walk without having to worry about cars.
So we're here in front of the Hospital Maciel, in front of the hospital chapel, and because we're taking our time, we can notice the finer details other than this chapel being beautiful. That thing there, that's an old cannonball.
There's something really peaceful about walking through Ciudad Vieja. The pace here is unhurried, like the city collectively decided to take a deep breath and never exhale too fast.
This house caught my eye because of the sign here. I love the Smurfs. I used to watch them as a kid. It was a cartoon, but I know it was a comic book before then. But I just learned a new word. Pitufos means Smurfs in Spanish. See, these are the little things that you don't notice if you're busy rushing around from, street to street. Oh, better watch out for that car. Oftentimes when we're traveling, we're so focused on a checklist. We gotta go visit this cathedral, and then that museum, and then go check out this cafe because it was featured on Instagram. But here in Montevideo, I could just relax, take a leisurely stroll, look down at the streets and admire the mosaics.
Also, admire the beautiful architecture that gives Montevideo an old world style. Take a moment to explore the street art and ponder the meaning behind them.
This grand building, it looks like some sort of manor, right? With this really elaborate entryway. But no, it actually is the Museum of Decorative Arts, or Palacio Taranco. They got that right. It sure looks like a palacio. It's amazing what you've discovered just walking down random streets. So this is another entryway to the Museo, or the Palacio Taranco. This is like the backyard. I mean, it did used to be a major mansion for the Taranco family, but wow, could you imagine their garden parties here? That was such a surprise to me because I hadn't expected to see something as elegant as that mansion there.
There's a kind of permission here to slow down, to wander without guilt, like here in Plaza Zabala.
Take a stroll around the park and then you might encounter a street musician or something.
Here's another pedestrian street, Peatonal Sarandí.
Here I am on Sarandí Street, or Peatonal Sarandí, so it's a pedestrian street. Lots of things to see. I wonder, are those real Labubus? I don't know, or they could be Lafufus. I've heard of like these Lafufus being sold in boxes as well. I just love how they tiled the streets around the palm trees. They just kept the palm trees in the same place. At least they didn't chop them down.
We didn't come here with a shopping list or a restaurant in mind, just opening whatever we stumbled upon. That's the kind of beauty of Sarandí. Every block has something that makes you stop.
Oh, some knitwear, because it's a reminder that it's a lot colder than I'd expected here. I know it's wintertime, but I was not prepared for the wind chill. Some more winter wear here. I think that's what's adding to my fatigue is the cold weather. Maybe it's just trying to stay warm and being uncomfortable in cold weather. It makes me want to seek out hygge, just like in Denmark, right? Now I understand why they like to be cozy in the winter months.
Speaking of hygge, or coziness, what about taking the time to visit some bookstores? Montevideo has amazing bookstores.
I love it when they repurpose old buildings. So this bookstore, the Librería, Linardi y Risso, used to be a stable. Yeah, like a stable where they house horses, but it's been rebuilt into a bookstore. See, that's a wagon wheel.
Walking in, I could not believe how Instagram worthy this bookstore is. It took me back to my childhood where I would find comfort being at the school library and wandering around at the bookshelves looking at the titles.
I love it. It's a Tiffany lamp. Just brings you back to the old days. I love the ladder. I just can imagine somebody going up there looking for an obscure or rare book. How many of you guys know what this is? I haven't seen this in a long time. Trying to look up something using the Dewey Decimal System. Is it a bookstore or is it a museum? Oh, this is awesome. This reminds me of the last bookstore in LA. It's a famous bookstore, so you'll walk through rows of books like this. Shall we go through here? Looks like it was created for you to enter and explore. We got Mafalda here because she's popular in Latin American countries. So basically, to live without knowing how to read is dangerous because you have to believe what you've been told. They love their books here in Montevideo. So we're here at Puro Verso. So I guess more pure verse.
That's right, the Librería Puro Verso inside the beautiful Pablo Ferrando building. Half bookstore, half cafe, all charm. It's one of those places that feels like it's been here forever, and in a way it has. The building dates back to the early 1900s, originally designed for the London-Paris department store, and you can see the elegant Art Nouveau details everywhere. We're talking the glass ceiling, the sweeping staircase, the ironwork.
Nowadays, it's hard to keep a physical bookstore open, not with the competition from ebooks and Amazon. However, I still love visiting bookstores, and so far here in South America, like in Argentina, and we're now here in Uruguay, Visiting a bookstore is just a whole experience in itself. Visiting bookstores like this makes reading fun again. I mean, just the idea of walking along these bookshelves and carefully selecting your book, because picking a book is a commitment. I mean, you're going to be committing a few days, a couple of weeks, depending on how much time you have to read. It's like forming a relationship with a book, and going to a bookstore is like being on a first date with the book. First date, all right. How about up here on the upper level? They have a cafe, order a coffee, read a book, and even if you're not looking to buy a book or read a book, at least come here to Mas Puro Visa and check out the view from the upper floor.
Today, it's one of Montevideo's most iconic bookstores, a quiet refuge for readers, artists, and anyone just wanting a pause from sightseeing. The name Mas Puro Verso means purest verse, which feels fitting because this just isn't a bookstore. It's a reminder to slow down, to breathe, and to appreciate small, beautiful things like turning a real page in a world that's moving too fast.
My theory is that the e-book culture never really took hold in here in Uruguay or in Argentina. And also you combine that with their cafe culture, it just makes it better to have a bookstore. They say this is the finest bakery in town. 25 de Mayo, 25th of May. It's a little early for a coffee, but you know what? Taking a look at these pastries, I do want to stop in and sample 1, 2, 3, several of them. But that's the beauty of not being on a timeline. I mean, you don't care what time you're going to take tea or coffee. You'll do it whenever you feel like it.
We grabbed some pastries to go as we had a few more places we wanted to check out before the sun went down.
Oh, look at that. They packaged it up. It's so cute. I'd meant to eat it while walking, but it's too darling to take apart. But I love this. I just love these spontaneous finds that you can only get if you're just relaxing and walking around. Also, by taking it slowly, we can go down alleys that have interesting street art.
One thing that really stands out about Montevideo is how inclusive and welcoming it feels. Uruguay was actually the first country in Latin America to legalize same-sex marriage, and Montevideo is often ranked among the most LGBTQ-friendly cities in the region.
In these alleyways, there's actually places for you to sit, tables where you can enjoy a lunch, a takeaway meal or whatever.
We then headed over to Plaza Independencía, where we had visited on our first afternoon in Montevideo. You can check out that vlog in the description box below. Then there's the Palacio Salvo, Montevideo's most iconic building.
And it's time for afternoon coffee. Just like in Argentina, in Uruguay, they do their coffees and teas in the afternoon kind of late. Oh, it's so nice and warm in here, and a bit of hygge with the pillows on the benches. They seriously have a lamp heater inside. No wonder why it's warm. The ironic thing is, even though the vibe here is really chill and it's warm stuff, because they have a heating lamp inside. Instead, we got our drinks to go to enjoy here at the Plaza de la Independencia. Nothing says chilling out than having your afternoon coffee and tea and pastries in the middle of a park. I can't wait to dig in to these pastries from 25 de Mayo. We got the alfajor, the passion fruit tart, we got a macaroon, not macaron, roon, and a fruit tart. This is gonna go great with our coffee out here at the Plaza de la Independencia. Maybe it's because I'm tired, I'm fatigued, but you know what? That was a really good bakery.
One thing I've learned from traveling is the importance of planning breaks. It's so easy to want to see everything, every museum, every landmark, but the rest is part of the experience too. Sometimes the best thing you can do for your trip is to just slow down, go back to your hotel and recharge, especially near the end of a long journey. It's those quiet moments, a nap, a cup of tea, or just sitting by the window that help you actually appreciate where you are. Lucky for us, we had a room with a view of La Rambla, the popular coastal walkway. If you have the time and energy, it's worth checking out. For us, we had ran on it in the mornings as part of our workout, so we're good for the day. The next morning, we slept in because there were no tours that required us to get up at the crack of dawn for pickup. This allowed us to go down to the Ciudad Vieja just before the breakfast deals ends. Sometimes it's nice to have a slow morning at a cafe that specializes in coffee. We ordered the cappuccino, toasted ham and cheese sandwiches, mini croissants, sparkling water, and fresh orange juice. This was their breakfast deal, which was 640 pesos plus tip.
And you just gotta continue to look up. So this building is Edificio Art Deco, an Art Deco building. See, even it says so on that tile. And speaking of slow, there's moda lenta, or slow fashion. So you're not gonna be finding any Zara or H&M here. So you're gonna find pieces that are crafted with a lot of thought and intention. It's part of the culture of Uruguay. Chill, intentional, relaxed. These museums tend to be housed in these very ornate buildings, such as this museum here, the MAPI, or the Museo de Arte Precolombino y Indígena, so pre-Columbus and indigenous arts.
Relaxed days mean spending time at the museums, and Montevideo has plenty.
I was not expecting this type of entryway. Are we in a museum or are we in a mansion? Oh wow, I can't believe it. Entry to this museum is free, no kapar. They do a really good job of upkeeping these old buildings. I can't believe this is a museum about pre-Columbian and indigenous art. I love it. The irony of taking what used to be a private space, used to be exclusive, and now it's open up to the public to educate and also enrich. I love the photographs that they have on display here of indigenous people, and also I love how all of this is in this room where they retain the original architecture, such as the brick ceilings.
That's what I like when we have an open day. No need to rush through a museum. We can linger and appreciate the architecture. And since we have time, we can check out another museum.
Here's another museum worth checking out, the Museo Andes 1972, or Andes Crash Memorial. Yeah, I get that having a museum about a plane crash is a little bit morbid, but you really got to hear the story behind it.
The museum is dedicated to the famous Uruguayan plane crash of 1972. It's more than just a museum. It's a story of the tragedy and miracle of the 16 survivors of Flight 571 who battled the frigid conditions at altitude for 73 days before being rescued.
Was it a tragedy? No, it was more of a miracle. This museum isn't free, but you know what? It's pretty reasonably priced. So $8 US, I'll take it, because you know, like in New York City, the museums are way more expensive.
Sorry, no photography or videography was allowed, but sometimes disconnecting from your phone or camera is what you need to fully immerse yourself into the experience. We met the curator and even stepped inside the cold simulator to feel what the survivors experienced. 73 seconds at negative 20 degrees Celsius, with each second representing 2 days stranded in the mountains.
Okay, so this was my favorite museum in our 2.5 weeks here in South America. On the outside, the museum looks unassuming. It looks small, and it is kind of small. We thought we were going to spend maybe 30 minutes at most, but we ended up spending about 2 hours. My favorite part is that they have a simulator in the lower level, and basically it simulates the temperature and the conditions that the survivors went through for 73 days. It's like the ultimate form of cryotherapy, but instead it gives you a perspective of what these survivors had to go through. Being in that simulator for 73 seconds at negative 20 degrees Celsius and also 10 seconds in the darkness, it really gives you an idea of the struggles that the survivors had to go through, and also you admire them for their strength and their resilience. No matter how bad of a day I'm having, I'm always going to remember those 73 seconds, because there's nothing that I could have gone through that was as severe as what those survivors had gone through.
By evening, we wanted something low-key and easy rather than a sit-down restaurant, so we went to Fresh Market for the prepared food bar.
Yeah, eating a little healthier and lighter, so got my salmon pasta, spinach with some chicken or cube chicken and beets. Don't mind if I do with adding on croutons. And just like in the States, you weigh out your salad, that's Jason salad, and then go ahead and hit that, and then it prints out the price tag.
There's something deeply satisfying about just eating in your room after a long trip. No reservations, no noise, no agenda, and of course, no shoes. We also had grabbed a box of dulce de leche cookies from Fresh Market for dessert. To wrap up our last night in Montevideo, we made tea in our room to go with the dulce de leche cookies. It was the calmest moment of our entire trip, and somehow the perfect way to end it. Montevideo isn't a city of must-dos. It's a city of slow mornings, easy walks, quiet museums, and cozy nights in. And when you're at the end of a long trip, that's exactly what you need. Sometimes the best travel memories aren't about adrenaline or bucket lists. They're about rest, stillness, and giving yourself permission to just be. In the comments section, tell me, where do you go to recharge or how do you recharge while traveling?